I've been told you're struggling to pick up a fight to watch because there's too many of them. Here I come, coming to your rescue. Sit right there. What's up, fighting fans? Tips from the Fight IQ channel. Today we're coming back for another episode of the Fight IQ show. You know how I do. I will start by ranking the top 5 fights that happened last weekend and tell you why you should hit the rewind button. To make this ranking, I base my opinion on these criteria: excitement, duration of the fight, opposition level, and the way to finish the fight. After that, I'll be picking the top 5 coming matchups. So let's start, would you? This week we had the UFC 294 and the Catterall vs Linares boxing card. Just a word before we start, the UFC 294 was a bit weird. A lot of fouls from fighters, referees, doctors. The hype fights were not necessarily the best one, but let's develop. Number 5, Mohamed Yahya vs Trevor Peek. A fight in the prelims of the UFC 294. One of the good surprises from the prelims for me. A great performance from Peek. He really surprised me. He's kind of known as a wild fighter, but this time he was more composed and more focused. He imposed his own pace during the fight, making Yahya fight on the back foot the whole 15 minutes. He was powerful and accurate in his striking, still swinging wildly from time to time. He has some unorthodox strikes, like for example he used the hammer fist standing, so sometimes it's a bit funny, but it's kind of efficient for him, it works for him. He's entertaining and he has a good use of his wrestling and a huge gas tank because he went on for the whole 15 minutes, that's kind of amazing. Yahya couldn't match the intensity from Peek. He always stayed in the fight though, but yeah. Attempted a submission at the end of the first round. He had a few good counter strikes. The pressure was too much for him. Still, I'd like to see him get another shot at the UFC. Maybe that was too much for a first fight, but I think he has potential. I'd like to see him again. So Peek got the win by a unanimous decision. He continues to show good promises. He's showing progress also, not as well as he used to. More focus and thinking more about his striking. I will be excited to see him fight again. Number 4, Magomedov vs Bruno Silva. Very first fight of the UFC 294. Didn't go as I previewed. I really underestimated the toughness from both fighters. In the first round, Magomedov was showcasing all of his skills. It was really impressive. A lot of variety in his striking, especially his kicks. Really amazing. I saw so many kicks that I never saw before, so really cool. He has a great footwork. Good feints as well. He hurt Silva a few times, really completely dominated the first round. In the second round, Silva adapted. He observed, he was timing Magomedov's kicks, and at some point he took him down. It was still not enough for him to win the second round because Shada stayed really active off his back in the bottom position. He was constantly using his elbows, making damage, and Silva never could do any real damage from the dominant position. The first round, I would say, is completely Silva because he got the early takedown, he maintained control. Also there was less activity from Shada because I think he emptied the gas tanks in the first 2 rounds. Even though he finally escaped and finished the round on his feet. But third round definitely for Silva. I think Magomedov made a great entrance at the UFC, showcasing a lot of great skills. But Silva showed some holes in his game, so he will have to work on this because against a great wrestler he might be in a lot of pain. Number 3, Team Elliott vs Mokaev. It was the last fight from the prelims at the UFC 294. It was a good test for Mokaev, one of the UFC's best prospects, versus a veteran like Team Elliott. It took some time to adapt for Mokaev. Elliott came off really aggressive in the first round. He took Mokaev down and controlled the first 2 minutes of the fight on the ground. But then Mokaev succeeded to escape. He took the fight on the striking, few striking exchanges, and then he also tried to take Elliott down, but Elliott defended really well, and then unfortunately he hit Mokaev with an illegal knee to the head while Mokaev was grounded. After that, Mokaev succeeded to take the fight on the ground, but Elliott stayed active, trying submission attempts from the bottom position, also using the elbows really good. So if you ask me, I would say Elliott won the first round. Second round, Mokaev came really hungry. He directly took down Elliott, but Elliott defended with a guillotine. But Mokaev escaped. He controlled the position, he used his ground and pound to inflict damage, but Elliott didn't make it easy for him. He was still active from the bottom and he tried a beautiful submission, a triangle choke, which the escape was even more beautiful as Mokaev slammed Elliott down and regained the control of the fight. Then the third round starts. I have one thing to say. I think Mokaev was playing a dangerous game. He was playing with the rules of putting his head down to when they were wrestling to avoid taking knees to the face, but it can be dangerous as he took some damage about it, and maybe another time the referee will be less kind. So careful Mokaev, but except that, great wrestling from Mokaev. Amazing reversal because he was against the cage, Elliott was wrestling him, he reversed it and was taking the dominant position on the ground. After controlling the position, he made a transition to an arm triangle and he got the win via submission. Good performance from Mokaev, showing great stuff versus an experienced fighter like Elliott, but he has to be careful with playing with the rules. It will not always work out for him, but I'm really happy for him to win and I want to see him fight against someone in the top 5 from his division. Number 2, Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. Co-main event of the UFC 294. Was so impressed by both fighters, two absolute monsters. The question was, can Usman resist the amazing wrestling from Khamzat Chimaev? And after the first round, I would have said no. Chimaev first takedown came after maybe 30 seconds and then he stayed on top for the whole round. He was taking Usman's back, working for submission, using ground and pound. Usman was all defense, he resisted well, he even countered a rear naked choke attempt from Chimaev by slamming him down. But yeah, he clearly lost the first round. Now, was it a 10-8? I'm thinking that it's not. Khamzat dominated for sure, but Usman didn't take much damage. He stayed active, wasn't completely helpless, so to me it's not the definition of 10-8, at least the one we got in the past. The second round was really different, the pace was really low, both guys were a bit tired from the wrestling from the first round. Usman was more controlling the range with the jab, sending more shots, sending a few low kicks, but Khamzat finished the round with a beautiful takedown. I would give the round to Usman, but it was really close because there was not a lot of volume in that round. The third and last round is also tough to judge. Usman was dominant with his striking during the first half, but Khamzat at the second half controlling on the ground, even though Usman finally escaped and got up and swinging punches until the bell rang. Khamzat got the win via decision. He passed tough test for the former world champion, that's not nothing. But hats off to Usman, great gas tank for a guy moving up a weight class on 10 days notice. They talk about giving a title fight for Chimaev next, but yeah, on social media I saw that Strickland doesn't want it yet, but I heard that's what Dana promised for this fight, so let's see. And number 1, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. It was the main event of the UFC 294 for the lightweight championship. Even though the fight was short, I have to put it number 1 in the rankings because of what it represents. Two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in MMA world. If not the best, it was champion versus champion. It was a rematch after a very disputed first fight. So after taking that into account, let's take a look at Makhachev's performance. He was coming really aggressive with his striking, really accurate as well, while everybody knows him as a great wrestler. He put a lot of pressure on Volk. He was really imposing his pace. He hits him with a beautiful high kick. And that's even more interesting to take a look at it because earlier in the round he already used that high kick and he recognized then that he was touching Volkanovski. After that second high kick, he finished Volkanovski with great ground and pound. Islam retained his belt, showing that he's more than a powerful wrestler, that he's a really complete and dominant fighter, maybe the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter. Of course, Volk came on short notice, but still, that's an amazing performance. It takes nothing out of Makhachev's fight, and I think it will be really hard to take his title from him. But I can't wait to see him fight again. To mention this week, so the UFC 294 left me with mixed feelings, to be honest. There were horrible decisions, a weird decision as well, like for example the Walker versus Ankalaev fights. You can see that Walker wants to fight still, and yeah, the doctors say that he was not able to fight anymore, so they stopped the fight. Really frustrating. Also, horrible decision about Victor Henry. Doctor came in, say that the kick was legal while it was kicked in his balls, and you could see that he was not faking it. He also threw up at the hospital, but the doctor say, yeah, he touched your leg. Yeah, really weird. I hope this doctor will not be present anymore, because yeah, the two errors came from him. Still, some good performances as well. Mike Breeden, for example, really great performance. He's really a dog. I really liked his comeback, because yeah, he was losing versus the Indian fighter. I forgot his name. Sorry. Really came back on top, and that was quite great. Also, really good from side Magomedov, securing submission wins in the very first round, and also Ikram Aliskerov, amazing highlight reel finish, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to see him fight again. Also, we had the Catterall versus Linares boxing fight. It was a good boxing fight, really tactical approach from Catterall, wearing down Linares, making him miss, using his jab constantly, hard punches also to counter. But still, I wouldn't recommend it to casual fans, because it might be a bit boring, to be honest. That's why it's not in my top 5, but if you really enjoy boxing, you should hit the replay button. And now, the top 5 fights to watch next weekend. Number 5, Michelangelo Lupoli versus Nicolas Leblond. It will be at Cage Warriors 162 on the 28th of October. A good flyweight bout, I think. Lupoli is 6-3, 2 wins by KOs, is 1-1 by Cage Warriors. He comes off a loss versus the experimented Sam Creasy via decision. Nicolas Leblond is a really talented French prospect. He's 8-4, 5 submissions, 1 KO. He comes off 2 wins via submission, including a highlight of the Bulldog choke last April at Cage Warriors 153. Give an edge to Leblond. I think he's really relentless. He has a great ground game, and I think if he takes the fight on the ground, he will get the win via submission. Number 4, is Talundzic versus Daniel Frunza. The main event from the LFA 170. It will be a welterweight bout, and it will be on the 27th of October. It's 2 interesting prospects to headline this edition of LFA. Talundzic is 6-1 as a pro, 5-1 by LFA. He has also a big amateur resume. He's 8-1 in amateur. He got 3 wins via submission. He has a good ground game. He's training at Elevation Fight Team, and he comes off a win via submission. Frunza is 7-2. He has 6 wins via knockout. He has a great punching power, but he has some flaws in his ground game. His 2 losses comes via submission. He's on a 3 fights win streak and 3 via KO or TKO. I think he will try to stay on his feet to benefit from his punching power, but to be honest, I see Talundzic getting that one. I think the matchup is favorable for him. He fought good competition before at LFA. He trains with killers in striking game, and I think he will get the win via submission. Number 3, Simone Patrizi versus Dimitru Girlean. It will be the main event of the Cage Warriors 162 this Saturday, 28th of October. It's a rematch from 2 years ago between 2 Italian lightweights who since 2023 are both signed by Cage Warriors. Girlean won the first fight, inflicted Patrizi his first loss via KO in the first round. Since then, Patrizi is on 3 fights win streak with 2 finishes. Girlean is 6-2, all wins via finish, 4 KO and 2 submission, including 1 versus the tough British prospects Adam Cullen last April. He lost his last fight though in July via submission at Cage Warriors 158, and I'm sure he wants to bounce back from it. I'd give an edge to Girlean. I think he fought toughest challenges, and I think he will rack up another finish. Number 2, Fabio Wardley versus David Adeleye. It will be for the British Heavyweight Championship. It's the co-main event of the Fury versus Ngannou boxing card, and it will be on the 28th of October. It's 2 undefeated heavyweights, the next generation of British boxers. Both have a huge KO ratio. Wardley has 15 KOs in 16 wins, and Adeleye has 11 KOs in 12 wins. While Wardley uses simple but efficient combos, including with his strong right hand, Adeleye has more versatility. He's going to the body a lot, good left hook, I think. Yeah, he has a lot of success with that. I think it's difficult to say who will get that one, but I'll go with my heart and say Adeleye, by KO in the late rounds. I think he has more weapons in his arsenal and he might be more equipped to get that win. And number 1, I think you guessed it, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, Battle of the Badders, 28th of October. That's one of the biggest events of the year, and that's something we never saw in boxing before. That's the current heavyweight boxing world champion, one of the best heavyweight of all time, that will fight the former UFC champion. Battle of the Badders indeed. Fury beat some of the greatest heavyweight of our time, like he beat Klitschko, he beat Wilder twice, he beat Dillian White. He's undefeated in 34 fights, 33 wins, 1 draw, 24 wins via KO. He has a huge reach, 216 centimeters. He has great footwork. What to say about his amazing head movement. He has a lot of speed for his weight, and I think he fought a lot of adversity in his career. After beating Klitschko, he had almost a 3 years layoff. He was battling with alcohol, but he came back on top and is now better than ever. Ngannou is one of the most heavy hitters on earth. He has 12 UFC wins, 10 by knockouts, and most of these knockouts in the first round. He beat guys with great footwork in the past, like Stipe Miocic or Sirgan. Boxing is a whole different skill set, and he's gonna fight a world champion with a huge resume. That's amazing to see that he will fulfill his dream to get a boxing match against a world champion. Crazy life for Ngannou as well, coming from working in sand mine in Cameroon to UFC champion and now fighting in boxing. Logic would make me go to Fury. He's an amazing boxer, really skilled, but let's not underestimate Ngannou's power. He's also improved his striking over the years. He has one punch KO power as well. So I would say Fury. I think you don't bridge the gap that Fury has over Ngannou in such a short period of time. But if Ngannou can touch Fury, that can go really quick. Really don't blink for that fight. It will be amazing. I think one of the biggest events we have this year. I'd like to mention that this week also we will have Joseph Parker versus Simon Keane and Martin Bakole versus Carlos Takam on Fury versus Ngannou boxing card. That's also some nice heavyweight showdowns. So if you love boxing and if you love heavyweights boxing, so take a look at it. So that was it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If that's the case, please give a hard punch to that subscribe button to be aware of any new releases. Also, let me know in the comment what you thought about the crazy fights we had last weekend and give me your picks for the coming matchups. Enjoy the fight. I'll see you next week.
They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I